Thank you for your presentation, Herr Dr. Reinhardt et Monsieur Grandlier. It's a pleasure for me to welcome now Ms. Dr. Sabine Wilfling, Unit Lead Public and Government at SHARE, and Mr. Thomas Feld, Managing Director at Strategion.
My name is Sabine Wilfling. Welcome. I'm having a pleasure to give you some insights together with my colleague Thomas. So I'm also happy, as Ronnie said, I'm not alone this time. I will talk about the aim of GAIA-X, how GAIA-X is creating a data ecosystem in Europe that will generate innovations and new data-driven services and applications, as Mr. Jutzambik said. So on the first, I will highlight a little bit the challenges companies have, like startups in AI projects. Then I will go over and explain it on how GAIA-X helps to unlock the opportunities offered by data economy. And in the third step, I will explain on the federated services, how they can support an end-to-end engineering process across the whole GAIA-X stack to develop and innovate smart advanced services. Last but not least, I will give just a short snapshot into the smart living domain, and I'm very pleased have my colleague here, Thomas, the ambassador of smart living domain, who will then show on a concrete example of smart living, how a smart service engineer in an AI project has created really hands-on smart living services for more sustainable and friendly living. So let's get started. More or less, we have, due to the cornerstone of current transformation in our society, it's data. And the goal of every company is raising value through AI and data-driven cross-sectoral business models. So where are we today? So the digital transformation of value creation changed massively. In the past, we had collaborations in linear supplier, more or less orientated value chains. That was common with the development of physical products and services. The key objects mainly of that collaboration, that was reducing cost or increasing efficiency within classical linear chains, as I said. But today, new technologies like AI, like data, they changed that setup massively. We need to integrate these technologies like AI into the value chain and into that creation of products and services. We need to develop new products based on data. That is key. So, and more or less, we have centralized and decentralized collection of processing units, various data. We have cloud application like PaaS, software as a service, infrastructure service, and IoT. So companies are embedded and involved in a very complex value-added networks, and they have to find out what they can successfully make out of that data for the customer and what data-driven business models look like, mainly cross-sectoral. So to sum up, the companies have to redefine their value creation. Service engineering is becoming more and more important, where value is generated by a number of services, data sources, and so-called advanced smart services. Let me give you a short example on advanced smart service. Advanced smart service combines physical and non-physical parts. For example, when we look at agriculture, then a service combines classical field work together with data processing. Today, in former times, for example, the machine and also the man steering that machine doing the field work, they were at time X on the field doing that job. But what is today? They need to prepare the machine and the driver, and they need to prepare all that data for the operation. And then based on weather, on growth, on different data, this time point is set to bring the field and also the machine and the man out to the field. So what are the challenges for those AI projects to gain data-driven innovation and to force that strategy and to develop, in the end, a trusted and sustainable economy? So the problem of AI projects, why they often fail, it's mainly trust and data. So to set up an AI project successfully, data value chains are the prerequisite. Consumers and providers, they need to work closely together to understand the business needs, and they have to get into close collaboration in a trustful environment. Only if there are no insufficient mechanism to secure and to get trustful access to data, they can exchange and they can get into these AI projects. So in AI projects, they need to get to that massive amount of data. They need to prepare them. They need to analyze and model them to train the AI algorithms. They need to do some evaluation and monitoring. And the key is to have these data and to have these trust to exchange it. So missing trust and missing data leads to the stuff we have at the moment. So a sovereign data exchange is not possible. We don't know which services, which nodes, which providers, who is providing what data, and which service can I use to extract. We have also challenges in compliant AI services and storage services across the stack. And in the end, identity and trust management is really important to deploy that service in the end. So to sum up, flexibility, speed, agility, and standards. These are important parts to build up the foundation for a data-driven innovation strategy and to have successful AI projects. So how can GAIA-X help and solve this? Let me explain it a little bit on the GAIA-X architecture itself. So providers and consumers, they find out how they can share data and use that data for solving a certain problem. And they gain ideas on how can data-driven business models look like. So GAIA-X is solving that with an architecture that is enabling the shift from a data silo thinking to a data ecosystem, enabling mechanisms to share process data across different parties in a trustful and easy and interoperable way, from an infrastructure level, the REB one, up to a data ecosystem level. And there we have the possibility to gain end-to-end service engineering processes. I think that is the most important thing, to have these service engineering processes end-to-end from the infrastructure up to the data ecosystem, to advance the digital sovereignty in two ways. On the one hand, by offering with GAIA-X governance framework, which offers mechanism to, on the one hand, that data can be stored, trustful, and also can be processed in Europe in a sovereign way, according to rules and mechanisms and standards. So cloud and data services are more or less the key element of our digital sovereignty, and the industrial data we have and we need for the AI projects, they're the critical input factors for that. Let me give a short intro into the architecture, as here also on the example of the smart living domain. So if we go further, I will explain that whole stack engineering process a little bit more in detail. So when we look at the architecture, we have in the bottom of the architecture, from a technical point of view, in the smart living domain, if we position it already in that example, the infrastructure is characterized by distributed data sources, very heterogeneous system landscape. We have data assets of the individual, smart living providers and consumers here, across a very wide variety of clouds and on-premise systems like security clouds, you see it here, data center of housing provider, mobility cloud, engineering cloud, and so on. And if we go upper in that stack to the data ecosystem, there the digital sovereignty of the data owners are preserved. So in the blue area up there, you see the smart living data spaces forming a data ecosystem. They're bringing together different kinds of data, like environmental data, smart device data, biometric sensor data, and so on. So the main benefit is to bring that unconnected domains and partners, such as like housing, energy, and building provider together, to make it possible that AI projects can be set up to develop cooperatively across these boundaries, smart advanced services, like in the context you see it up here, smart security, comfort services, mobility services, and so on. So last but not least, let me say the innovation potential in smart living domain is really huge. We have like a big global market growth. You see it here in 5 years. There's a really ramp up. I think that makes it again clear that we need to address these challenges from an innovation side to go further. And I think, yeah, GAIA-X has the chance to drive these data-driven innovations and strategies and to develop a trusted and sustainable economy with a combination, and that is, I think, very special, of a technical and also data infrastructure, which creates like a unique constellation, you can say it, of data valorization in Europe. And these two parts, they're like complementary elements, I think, of an EU digital ecosystem. So before I hand over to Thomas, I would warmly encourage you to take part in this moonshot and make it happen, and to play an active role in building up that data ecosystem, getting astronauts on the start, if we stay with the term moonshot, taking part in developing of the architecture, as well as getting involved into the different domains and hubs, and let's bring things together. Thanks very much for your attention. It's my pleasure now to hand over to Thomas, the ambassador of Smart Living.
Thank you very much. Next slide, please. Okay, yes, also warm welcome from my side. Yes, I'm the ambassador of Smart Living, and on the next slide we will continue exactly with the same picture which has also presented Sabine. We must know that our aim is, the aim of Smart Living, to create an energy efficient, sustainable home for each and every one of us. And our European building industry and also the electrical industry are here world leaders. But the next challenge is to make our solutions smart. The key technologies are AI and cloud-based data infrastructures. So I'm really proud to present you today the first joint demonstrator for the first development of an advanced smart system service engineering system based on GAIA-X and also on Foresight. So I would really thank in advance to all partners in this project for their valuable contribution. Next slide, please. Well, you can see the both concepts of Foresight and also of GAIA-X fits very well together. In the middle, you see the Foresight project platform, which is hosted in Europe in a trusted cloud infrastructure. And with the GAIA-X Federation services, we can obtain data from trusted data providers, deploy smart services to the service consumers. And these consumers could not also only be systems, it could be things, it could be people, it could be our business. So we interlink all these different players and actors together in one European trusted data environment. So the most important person we need in Europe is the advanced smart service engineer, not only infrastructure. He's on the upper left, and he needs to know what are the available and trusted data sources, and he needs access to a trusted AI database and a trusted AI running system to deliver trustful advanced services for the European Union. So, next slide, please. Make it easy. Let's go started. This is an advanced smart service engineer who has to develop an advanced smart service, and he uses Foresight and also the federated services of GAIA-X. Yes, let's take a look. We made an easy business example. We all are sitting now on our chairs, probably in our home, and our home is our office. And what could happen, what is more worse, is that we could not start a presentation. More worse is, yes, next click, the postman rings twice. In this situation, we are in trouble and we all would wish, next step, the intelligent doorkeeper takes care of it. That means he handles all the business tasks we are not able to do at the moment because we are in this conference. Next slide. But there's also another situation. We are not always at home. An accident may happen. There could be a water leak. And if we not handle this water leak, then we will have another problem. So next slide, please. Yes, here we need also to let someone in that can handle this case. And also here we would wish that we have, next slide, the intelligent doorkeeper that takes it for it. So it sounds like an easy application, but for a data analyst or the smart service engineer, it is a huge problem. Next. He has to get access to many different data sources, which need to be first found and which need to be trusted. Over 40% of an AI project are going in efforts to find this data, to collect it, and to order it. Here, the Federated Catalog is the first step to go in. Let's take a look how it looks like. Next. So if I make a pause, you can go to the next slide. We are searching for, in this example, for one service, and we are looking for a water detection service. And we find one here provided by the German Artificial Intelligence Center of the DFKI. We are wondering a bit because they are not producing them, but let's look forward what will happen. Okay, we take this service we have found, and what we see is we have only got a digital twin. That means we can simulate a water leak detection service, but we have not yet a real one found. Therefore, we need to connect a data source to it. And we have a service registry where we can link then also this virtual service to a real environment. Next. And therefore, we need also a sovereign data exchange for the implementation of a trusted service. I have there an animation, click, yes. So we start from the water leak, and this is registered in the register of the AI service project. Now we need to connect this service with the real world. We have at the moment not yet data. Yes, we're looking in the registry and click, if I make a pause, click. The data connector of IDS will link to a real data environment, like the Smart Home Lab Sense in Berlin. So that we can, as a data analyst or a data scientist, now work directly with real data to optimize our service. So next slide. I will be a bit short. Okay, let's look in the system. We are now in the registry, and we also found the water leak detection service here in our registry of our AI project. Next. And the information, the description of the service also includes the description of the self-description of GAIA-X, as well as the self-description of all other services or all other descriptions we need to implement it. Next. We have also seen that we need to connect the service with another cloud. So the description for the international data space connector is also involved and can also be used so that we can use different partners and different centers of data to link this data together. Next. So what we get for the smart service engineer is a trusted and linked data space of all information he needs to implement his advanced smart service. And he gets the context of the process, not only the limited data which is today in the process. He gets all information to answer any question, to handle any situation in the process he needs. And for this reason, it's not only for smart living important, it's for any business. If you have a business problem and you need to design a new smart advanced service, very important that you have access to federated data service provider infrastructure, and you have access to a distribution platform where you can share the services you have created, that you reach your customers in the futures by the combination of advanced smart service engineering and federated service processes. Do you want to join? Last slide. Well, if you come to us to the Future Living Berlin or to Osnabrück, where we are developing this smart engineering process, or in GAIA-X, maybe the intelligent doorkeeper will welcome you. Thank you for your attention.